Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1183 of FloWrestling Radio, live from Austin, Texas, presented by Nike Wrestling. So thankful to have you on a glorious Monday in December, the 1st of December. To my right, James Dean Rader. To the left, Andrew Spencer Spay. And to the left, America's side piece, John Kozak, the father. He's a little sneezy, but he's still got the double biceps going. And we are ready for a show today, recapping an epic Cyhawk, the inaugural Steaksgiving.
Inaugural, yes.
We went to Spay's house yesterday. We ate steaks and watched wrestling. It was the best of times. Awesome wrestling. Great dual meet, incredible dual meet, important dual meet for the sport. And yeah, we're gonna start with Cyhawk. JD, what's top of your mind after Iowa State's incredible win over the Hawks?
Well, I got to know just your emotions after this duel and what this means. Put it in perspective.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well,
before we go match by match.
Sure. I think the perspective is this is a milestone for a program. This is a milestone for Iowa State and Coach Dresser, and it's something they've been striving for since they got here. Coach Dresser said it in his introductory press conferences. This is what they want to do. They want to be the top program in the state of Iowa. And you know what that means. You know you have to beat one of the best programs in the country, the most historic program in the state, and the most popular team in America. And you know that beating Iowa is a status, right? And it's something that they've been close and they've been right there, and they beat them at NCAAs, but it's not the same if you don't do it in the dual meet. They beat them at NCAAs a couple years ago, but it's not the same as going head up at Iowa, in the state of Iowa, at Ames or Iowa City, and getting that win. It's a signal, and it's important, and you can't just say it's one dual meet. No, this is a big deal for wrestling. It's a big deal for Iowa State. And they did it in a way that was really impressive. They were the aggressors. They were the ones. Younger Bastida set the tone, trying to score, and really, that was kind of the theme for the night. Is the Cyclones pushing to score? Iowa had some good counter punches, but really, for just more broadly, it's a milestone. It should be celebrated. Iowa State fans have waited for this. How about the crowd? You lose to a team 20 years in a row, and in the middle of a blizzard, a foot of snow, highways are shut down the day before, and you put over 10,000 in your almost 13. That says something. That says how important this is. And that was a Cyclone crowd. There were Iowa fans there for sure, but that was a Cyclone crowd. They went nuts for this team. They show up every single year, and I don't root for teams. I love storylines. This is a good one for wrestling. It's a good one for a great fan base in Iowa State. And I tell you what, it was wrestling as it should be, prominently displayed, and just a good day for wrestling. And there's a lot to unpack beneath the headlines. What it means for both teams, but those are my initial.
Why this is great for wrestling is because when you have rivalries like this, it's great for a sport. And it's such a monkey off the back moment for Iowa State. It's kind of like is this going to be a opening of the floodgates? Not saying Iowa State's winning every year or anything like that, but now we have a rivalry that is competitive every year. And it's like, okay, Iowa State actually can win this duel. Yeah. Right. And it felt like, because of what has happened the past couple of years, where we have said they can win and then they just don't.
Yeah.
It's felt like that was going to be every year, where it doesn't matter. Iowa State's going to have their best team, and just for one reason or another, it's not going to happen. Yeah. And now it's like, oh no, it can happen.
That's what made it fun, JD, is Iowa kept, right when it looked like Iowa State had a chance to kind of run away with it, or Iowa would find that counterpunch. They got the counterpunch at 25, and then Ryder beats Pinheiro, and they just did enough to stay. And then Caliendo put it in reach with that tech. they made it gripping start to finish. And yeah, it takes two great teams to make a duel that good. And yeah, to your point, as someone just watching it and you're thinking, okay, I was still probably going to find a way to win. You're looking around every corner thinking the boogeyman's there. It's like, okay, this is how it's going to happen. They needed 25. They didn't get 25. They needed this way. And Ryder gets it.
And why it felt like you're watching history at the end when you realize Iowa State's winning is because that was always in the back of your head. Well, I was just going to win this somehow. That not necessarily going to be the case anymore. Like next year when it's a close duel, like
psychologically you are past that point where
right.
You're just resigning yourself to another loss if you're Iowa State or their fans. But yeah, the entire match, it was riveting back and forth. It would never felt like you could just tune out or whatever. You were glued to every match. And how about those memories that those fans made? You guys talk about
that's a core memory for sure.
Talk about the people that brave those elements and that dual format, a one-off where you have it circled on your calendar. No other format can deliver that type of thrill of watching a team get a historic win like that than your dual meet.
This duel really had it all. Like you think about wrestling weather starting off.
It did.
Like a packed house, upsets happening, individual upsets, which we don't always see in duels. You know, it feels like a lot of times if a favorite guy is supposed to win, he kind of gets it done. Top 5 guys going down, momentum shifts one way, then the other, and then obviously the historical finish. The only thing maybe that could have spiced it up just a tad would have been like a little more tension.
Yeah.
It felt like, you know,
no one was fighting.
I need a fight to really complete
You want that trash
A++.
talk, you know.
We needed that handshake. Yeah, no. But when you know the background between the programs, you almost feel it a little more. It's like it doesn't even need to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, for sure.
So, all right, we can go weight by weight kind of now and talk about our thoughts on what they mean for it. But starting at 285.
Which is interesting in and of itself that they flipped. They couldn't agree on which weight to start.
Yeah.
So it was a dresser won the toss, and he said, we're going 285. I mean, there was a lot of speculation about what that meant about Rocky Elam's status and why would you want to start there. It made for an awesome duel because 285 and 125 are two great bouts to start the duel with. But
Yeah, Coach Dresser said we wanted to see what they had at heavyweight. You know, they've been holding them out, they've been using them, so right away they were going to make them use Ben Keeter, I think was the point. And apparently it was the plan for going into it. All week he told Rocky Elam, be ready, you're going to go last. And they told Younger, hey, if we're flipping, if we win heavyweights first. So yeah, it is interesting, like the kind of, you know, Dresser was a high school coach, man. So I wonder if that, like, you think most college coaches were not high school coaches, for whatever reason. It's kind of odd to me, but you know, do you think more about the game within the game? This is the guy we saw do the triple bump, right? He kind of has that. We'll mix it up. We'll change it up. Not just gonna start at 25 and wrestle lineup. So yes, that was. And then Younger comes out, and he set the tone. Man, he can't get these ride outs. He gives up an escape with like 6 and like 1 second left to not get the major. But the guy looked to score the entire time. He looks like a national champion right now. There's more to it than that, but right now he looks like the best heavyweight in America through the first month of the season.
Absolutely. And have we mentioned Coach Dresser is joining us?
Oh yeah,
at the end of this show at
JD.
11 our time. So stick around.
Yeah.
We'll get Coach Dresser's thoughts.
Thrilled to have Coach joining us, of course. But yeah, I mean, Ben Keeter not close to any points at any point in time. He wasn't close a year ago. For the U20 world champion, big prospect, doesn't seem like he's making up the ground you would maybe expect for the younger wrestler. He's not making up the ground.
And you said Younger set the tone for Iowa and for Iowa State.
For the state of Iowa.
Yes, that's right. But you're kind of right in that overall throughout this entire duel, with, you know, 1 or 2 exceptions, it felt like Iowa State's wins, like the entire time Iowa State's wrestlers were looking to score, except maybe like Pinero, and they're looking to put up points.
Yeah.
And Iowa State's wins felt big and like dominant. But Iowa's wins were Angelo winning 2-1, no takedown. Ryder Block went in 2-1, no takedown. So it just felt like Iowa State was the team with a little bit more effort, fire, passion.
Someone in the chat asked how many takedowns did Iowa have outside of Caliendo?
3, I think.
Was it 3 or 4?
I think they had 9. I think Caliendo had 6. Am I wrong?
Well,
Dean?
Dean had 1,
Kennedy?
Ayala had 1, and Kennedy had 2, right?
Oh, he had 2?
It was like 9-8. I
Okay.
just figured he had to have 2, but maybe
Look that
was it
up.
A reversal. You look it up. I'll look it
I
up.
don't think he had 2 takedowns.
I don't think
think
he
he
did
he had,
either.
like,
he had
he had
stalling,
multiple
Because he got the
points.
stall points.
an
Yeah.
escape. I
Well,
don't know.
There's no way to know.
Great escape.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
yeah, look it up. So I think it's only 3 total takedowns.
Yeah.
And
Yeesh.
so that's, absolutely. And we'll get, I have broader Iowa thoughts I'll get to maybe after we talk about the duel.
You know what I liked about Younger's match and the way he wrestled is you could tell from the start, this is a dual meet, meaning he is not just trying to win and advance in a tournament. It was, I'm trying to score bonus points. Those ride-outs were that much more important. And it just gave you that sensation that, like, oh, this is a team thing. Everybody is scrapping for every single point, trying to get that extra bonus point. You never know. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't get that. I mean, he didn't. Thankfully, it didn't come down to that for him or anybody. But that was, it just gave you that sense of how important those positions are.
And I thought at 25, Dean Peterson,
Can I say one thing about
Yeah.
285 first? Younger, we're talking about him not getting this right out. And it feels like Matt has become not a factor for him in a bad way, but I would get a little concerned in the back of my head. Like sometimes NCAAs, it's stuff like that.
oh, yeah.
It makes a difference. Like you think about like a match with AJ Ferrari where maybe there isn't a takedown or something, and it's like I got to ride for 6 seconds to win
Mhm.
in a scenario. That's the kind of stuff that wins you NCAA titles. Now maybe you can win without it, but I'm just saying that's something that could come back to bite him. in the
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, a mat return here, a ride out there,
Right.
get a wrist, for sure.
So something.
Okay, so I was right. Only 1 takedown for.
Don't you, liar.
Good job, Kozak. You nailed it.
Oh, my gosh.
Escape, 2 escapes, 3 escapes, stall.
So, yeah, three takedowns outside of Caliendo.
Mhm.
One in 3 different matches. They won 2 matches without a takedown.
So kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard
Spin zone.
to do. 25, we got to move because we got a lot to get to. 25, I thought Dean, he looked good. You know, there was some, that's a hard match for him. And if you rewatching the match leading into it, Peterson versus Steve-O, how he lost, he made the adjustments. He went after Steve-O. He was the aggressor that match. Steve-O was not looking to score on his feet, really. And so this is a bright spot. This is one of the big bright spots for Iowa, winning that match and how he won, going after it. In the first period, didn't get it. And really, the counter scrambling of Steve-O is like, that's supposed to be probably his area of advantage. And his ability, he got in on the high crotch, but Steve-O sort of out-scrambled him. When he hooked the bottom leg, that's an almost assured takedown generally. Dean found his way to far ankle and then really just out-scrambled, got the win. Good job by Dean in a match that the Hawks had to have.
Well, I felt like that was when Iowa State had to have going
Yes.
into this duel.
100%.
So then it was like, all right, kind of, there's the duel. Like, Younger didn't get the major.
Well, that
Steve-O lost after
inevitability.
getting 90% of the way to the match-winning takedown. Like, it kind of sucked the air
It did
out a
make
little
you think,
bit of
like, here
Hilton.
we go again.
Yeah.
For sure.
But then 33.
33
And
happened.
it's like,
That changed,
Cyclones are back.
changed everything.
Go back, baby.
And the match was going as planned, as scheduled. Scoreless first. Drake slide by to the single leg finish. You're like, here we go. And then even to your point, Frost gets in on a beautiful shot. He's cracked down. He's got the foot on the hip. Everything is just exactly how you want it, right? And Drake finds a way, gets to the leg, and just hangs, avoids giving up that takedown. And you're thinking, okay, that was maybe Frost's chance. And then Frost, Drake couldn't keep him off his legs. I think for Drake, head, hands, keeping guys off the legs are important because I think when guys are on his legs, he has a hard time not letting them progress to finishing positions. And that was the difference in this match. To me, this is maybe a coin flip match going forward. It's obviously one Drake can win, but Frost, I mean, think about this. What this signals about Evan Frost. First time down, everyone is just talking about how big this guy is, how hard the weight is. He has not wrestled. He wrestled at 41 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it. He's the third match instead of the second, so not as much recovery time. He had more at the end than Drake, or at least he showed more. He scored more. That to me that's a nice signal for Cyclone fans. Like, hey, this guy was good in the third period. Yeah. He didn't get out to an early lead and hang on against Drake Ayala. He went and got 2 takedowns at the end, out-scrambled Drake, was getting the legs more than Drake.
He looks like he's going to be problems at 133. Like, nationally, anybody that can beat a 2-time finalist is definitely going to be a factor. And I'm really glad for Evan that he got this win, because it sounds like he also had the flu going around and passed it on to his brother who couldn't wrestle. So it's like,
I helped him make weight.
If you don't,
right.
If you don't get this win, you also knocked out a potential starter at 149 on your brother. So,
yeah.
What did you think about Ayala's choice to go neutral in the third?
I don't know. Maybe overly.
He went neutral and then he got taken down almost right away, right?
And he
was winning 3-2.
He was up by 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're saying, hey, we're better on our feet, and I don't second guess that, because I don't know what the escape really gets you.
Well, you get taken down, then you get an escape, and it's tied.
Well,
whereas he was down by 1.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a.
It was odd to me. I was
really.
Yeah,
it is a little odd.
Gotten ridden.
That is true. That is true.
Well, the other thing too about it was, and I told you guys this, is I was listening. I was coming late from church to Steaksgiving, so I was listening to the Iowa State radio broadcast, which is electric. It is.
It's Nate Carr Sr. and
yeah, I didn't look at who the other guy is.
Else, I can't remember.
The play-by-play guy, which is like Nate Carr Sr. just like openly just cheering for Iowa State, which is so funny.
Yeah.
But
he'll coach too.
Yeah, he'll coach. And so this match was wild. It was really hard to follow because there was a lot of action. But I'm like, did Drake really choose neutral? Did they just like get that wrong? The other part that was funny about it was Drake got taken down or something, and maybe he was close to near fall at one point, but Nate Carr's yelling, "He's pinned! He's pinned!" It was just, I don't know. It was really entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can talk some about the choice. I think he goes down, gets away. Maybe it was in his head a little bit that Frost is good on top, but then he got away right away after Frost got the takedown, right? Mm-hmm. He got away twice.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I'll say this: if you wrestle this match again, you don't go neutral. You get the point. But I think up to that point, I don't know. But Frost has taken him down in the past, so it's in him.
Yeah. When it comes to next match, though, you got to throw it away, forget yesterday. Your escapes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are we worried about Drake?
The comments in the chat are: Is he still tier 1?
The narrative is shifting around Drake after making 2 finals and then getting beaten soundly to Davino, and then this loss to somebody who he's beaten before. But I personally kind of feel like Drake is the same guy. I feel like Frost has improved, and that's more this. And I think 133 is just a really deep weight now.
My biggest concern for Drake, I've sort of alluded to it. Guys are getting to him too easy, and that cannot be his reality. He cannot be a let you in and figure it out kind of wrestler against these 33s. He'll get taken down more than not. So right now he's 4-3. That's his record, and he got lit up by Davino, lit up his legs, and Frost really. When you look at, just forget points, just who got to the leg more. Frost got to the leg more. That to me is telling. Drake has had better head hands in the past. I don't think that leaves. I think maybe it gets reemphasized or whatever, but you can't let guys in as frequently as he is. But for Drake, we knew coming into this year, the path to the finals for Drake was going to be more difficult than last year. You're adding potentially Crookham. We'll see. Believe it when I see it. But Marcus Blaze and Ben Davino are here, right? Ben Davino's already announced himself. And then everyone else was basically back. The national champion Lucas Bird is back. So it was going to be harder right now, and now Frost has emerged. But this is a guy, Drake, he lost to Tyler Knox last year in November, and no one was really talking about that in March for Drake. He wrestled better at the end, and he's wrestled better at the end throughout his career. So I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying Drake's fine. He's going to make the finals. He'll be third. I'm not saying that. I am saying he still could be a high place center. But if you're asking me right now, what is more likely, Drake wrestling in the NCAA finals or Drake wrestling in the round of 12, I think it's more likely he is wrestling and probably winning, but wrestling in the round of 12 on Friday than wrestling in the NCAA semifinal. That's what it's looking right now, just because the field has changed.
Yeah, you got to credit the guys that are stepping up and not just assume that it's Drake back.
Yeah.
We also had a super chat question. $5.
That's top of the list.
We can get our foot long from Thaddeus, and he told me not to read his username, so I don't know why. But
Sorry, Thad.
is 133 now the hardest weight class?
I don't know. We're kind of waiting to see what all like Marcus Blaze. I mean, we think we know. We have a pretty good idea. He's gonna be good. I don't know. I think you kind of assess that at the end. It's possible. It's pretty deep. 84 is good. Really, maybe more top heavy, but maybe not. I don't know.
We've been spoiled in November from the All-Star Classic, NDI, National News Invitational, sponsored by Paycom, and then you cap it off with Iowa versus Iowa State. And it's like we've had so many good matchups early.
Best November in wrestling history.
CKLV weekend is next weekend, so it's like this is still the beginning of the season. February is going to be different, but take your takeaways are valid, but really, we just had more than the usual number of awesome matchups.
There's cause for concern for Drake. I'm not sure. Not as much as there is for Nasir Bailey. Highly concerning. Mm-hmm. It's not there. It's not happening. He's at the wrong weight. If you ask me, which no one's asking me. So, but I'm saying it doesn't look like the same guy to me. He's not close in these matches. He's not close with Jesse Mendez. He's not close with Anthony Echemendia. He is not getting offense off. And they got a problem there at 41. It's hard to say you're going to get meaningful March contribution from 141 pounds right now.
Yeah, it definitely does not look like the answer for Iowa that they're looking for. I would also say, and it'll probably come up with Jordan Williams again, both these guys are transfers. There's a lot of negativity on, they came in to take the money, but they're not seniors. They have 2 years left. So these are your guys for 2 years. I would caution about writing someone off when they have time to develop and work on whatever.
But it's not about. Here's the thing. Why I don't agree with that. Not that they should be buried, but your expectations when you wrestle for this team, or when you wrestle and you take money, regardless, either way, win or lose. That's one thing. It's not just about winning, but like, what are you doing on the mat? Jordan Williams quit. He stopped wrestling and gave up a major with a duel on the line. People are not gonna say, okay, well, we got 2 years. No, you're here to wrestle hard. Maybe you don't win, maybe you don't place, but maybe you wrestle, but you definitely wrestle hard. That's just what you should expect, right? And I think that is probably why you're seeing more of that frustration from Iowa fans. It's like, we're not just losing. They're not seeing guys that are really going out and trying to score. Now, November is not your reality. That's not your destination. But that's why there's so much concern about these guys.
Well, there's a range of responses that are out there. I would not expect every fan to just be blasé about it and or happy or whatever. But I think in the spectrum, I'm leaning a little bit. I certainly don't think the extreme negativity is warranted. But to be upset, of course, you're a fan. I get
Nasir Bailey 2 years ago, he's the guy who teched Evan Frost.
Yes.
He beat Dylan Regeson at NCAAs, beat Kyle Arini at NCAAs, lost to Ryan Kirkham 4-3 and 4-2. Those were his NCAA losses.
Yeah.
So it's like the pendulum swing in his performances are so jarring, where it's like there has to be cause for concern.
Yes.
Part of it, like you said, I think is weight. I mean, think about it. His top game is just not a factor
No.
anymore against A Cuban.
He basically cut Echmandia. Echmandia got to his feet twice. You see it. Nasir just shoved off. He's like, all right, I can't return him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Again, highly concerned. I think he's at the wrong weight. And yeah, I don't know.
So maybe we see him bop down next year when Drake's done.
Yeah, that's possible. I would think that would be a good move. Now things could turn around. I mean, you go from Little Rock to Iowa. That pressure is different. You're oh wow, everyone cares how I wrestle here. It's like you can like
it's
last
coming
year,
up to you in Casey's.
No one probably remembers that Nasir lost to Blake Borman last year. No one remembers other than maybe the nerds in this room and Nasir. Everyone knows you just lost the way you lost. That's hard.
It was on ESPN.
That's a bigger challenge, right? And I don't know. You have to learn how to respond to that. So I'm not gonna say that there's not cause for concern that hey man, they might not get contribution. Like Ja'Cory Teamer scored 0 points for them last year at NCAAs. Kyle Parker I think won one match. Like sometimes you need to say, well, maybe they're not going to have major contribution this year, and that hurts. Ryder Block, bright spot for Iowa as well. Dean Ryder, and no scores. I rewatched the entire duel this morning, and rewatching this one, he was more aggressive than I think I realized the first time watching it through.
He's just wrestling Pinheiro.
Johnson. He is offense poison, just to everyone. But he won a gritty match against a guy that probably wanted to go win a gritty match. So good for Ryder. He's been really good this year. I think, for him from round 2 on in the NCAA tournament, he's going to be in wars, one score wars. I'm talking about Ryder Block. So he can place for sure, but just to level set, he's gonna have to win a lot of matches that look like that to do it. Because right now he's it's just gonna be a challenge. But he kept them in it, and he wrestled with great fight and effort, and he got away. Now we got a question, and we can kind of, I don't know how much time we're gonna have for questions, so I can kind of like get to them as they come. Pinheiro deferring in tiebreakers was discussed. What are your thoughts on deferring? JD, and I know Brock and other people like kind of weighed in on this, but you weighed in a conversation. But just give your overall thoughts on the deference.
Yeah. Normally we say defer, so if you should take neutral in the second 30 second period, if you should take neutral or not. And sometimes I think you should defer, but if you feel confident that both guys are going to escape in, say, under 10 seconds, you should take down right away to get your escape and force the other guy to go neutral and try and take you down in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think
Pinheiro should have taken he deferred. He should have taken bottom first because he's going to escape in 7 seconds. Yeah. And then Ryder has to take neutral or has a tough choice.
More
if he takes
what
neutral
do
from top.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the flip is you're thinking like, well, I know what position I need to take in the second tiebreaker if I defer.
Right.
But really having the first move and getting away quickly kind of sets things up. So I think in the future it would probably make more sense for Pinheiro to just go under. Maybe we can ask Coach Dresser.
You know what I say about defer? It's the coat made of the animals.
That's pretty good, Spay. Ryder, I love you. You can't do break stick at the end of this match when you win on riding time with no takedowns. You did not break Pinheiro Johnson. You beat him. You did not break him. It's a pet peeve I have.
I think it's in the
kids
moment.
love doing it. They
it's
love
a
doing
cool
the break
move
stick.
to do. I get it, but you're right.
Yeah. Maybe it was just like a back-breaking loss. Just like, but no,
Maybe.
We all know what it means. Yeah, I know. I thought it was hilarious too. But think about Ryder. Like, you see guys like Ryder Block, a big recruit, and then the first couple of years don't go great, and you're out with injury. He could have just, you know what? I'll just be a wrestler at Iowa. I'll be a guy hanging around. We've seen it with other programs in this program. Like, guys like, all right, I'm just kind of like, it's not going to work out for me. The dude's had, I think, 2 ACL surgeries, 2 knee surgery. And he found a way, battled back. Like, you can't be anything but happy for a guy like Ryder Block. And you kind of write off Ryder Block a little bit, right? It's like, it's never going to happen. Just not going to be healthy and X, Y, and Z. And they brought in Jordan Williams, but credit to him for making it happen. It shows a lot of resolve to get to where you're wrestling in Cyhawk and winning a big match and going to be ranked in the top 10 now.
Yeah. He's got wins over Josh Edmond, Casey Swiderski, Cade Brown, and Pinheiro.
Yeah.
To start the season. He's wrestled 5 matches. He had 6 going into this year in 2 years.
Yes.
So it's pretty it's remarkable.
These will change, but based on the rankings, this was the second biggest upset of the night. Gaetan was the biggest upset over Kenny.
Right.
But that's he'll be moving up, I assume, John.
And this weight's interesting for Iowa State. It sounds like Frost was sick, which is why he didn't wrestle despite winning multiple wrestle-offs leading up to this. But Dresser did say Frost is going to be the guy at Vegas, and this is likely his spot moving forward, or his to lose, maybe, especially after this.
Yeah, that's a good
right, because if you're Pinheiro, you get a big win here, you kind of keep yourself in the conversation.
Absolutely.
Now it's like, Pinheiro, we used to be able to trust you. You were money in the regular season, and at Big 12s, it was just NCAAs where you didn't get it done. Now it's like, like it's going to be tough to put Pinheiro out there postseason, especially if you got Frost winning the wrestle-offs.
Yep.
157.
Yeah. Man, honestly, exciting match, really.
Yeah.
The thrilling first couple periods, especially. Jordan on the attack, and then a lot of this kind of stuff. Like, Zurban is tricky to finish on.
Standing Merkel.
We saw that. With standing Merkel, he's just weirdly strong in a lot of positions. I thought he looked a lot bigger. I think, it's kind of, I think Jordan's best weight is 49. Even the announcers were saying he looks smaller. I thought he looked smaller on the screen. But Jordan early was attacking. His left-handed sweep was looking good, but didn't seem to have the power to finish. And plus, Zurban's tricky. And then Jordan proved to be tough to finish on. There is that weird shot, and it looked like I think it was a single, and he came up around the body, and he put the far side boot in, and then Jordan rolled. And I mean, there's a lot of exciting exchanges, but he got the takedown eventually. Just the persistence paid off for Zurban, and then really the mat return was huge. Him getting that, I think, did they get 4 on the throw? Either way,
At least 3, yeah.
At that point, you're like, oh wow, this is no longer who's going to win. It's like, can Zurban get bonus? And one of the more memorable, bad memories, but a memory is like just Jordan just kind of standing up as he walked out of bounds and just gave up the takedown that gave Zurban the major decision. At a point where you're like, dude, this could decide.
Yeah.
Because
is early enough.
On paper, it's like, okay, Younger missed that bonus point. Oh no, maybe they're going to need that one. Well, Zurban, we have the benefit of hindsight, not knowing that this was not a necessary point, but at the time, every point matters. And the guy just stopped wrestling, the cardinal rule of wrestling.
That was like a moment when you're like, this is a dual meet. Like, that's why these moments matter so much.
Yeah.
It amps up those things.
For sure. And then right away, it's like, all right, how does Iowa get back in it? Well, they need bonus points. Caliendo comes out like a savage.
Yeah.
And I know he was limping at the end, Uten, but the beatdown had already been applied prior to the injury. Caliendo was just on fire, scoring start to finish. And from the word go, you're like, this is a guy not thinking about a close win. This is a guy that is trying to come out and dominate. And that's what the Iowa fans clamor for, a guy that's trying to score the entire match. And that's what they had with Caliendo. Put him right back in the dual meet with 3 matches to go here. Uten limping at the end. You couldn't tell what the injury was then, but Coach Dresser said ankle. So that's
sprained ankle.
Your mind goes to, oh no, did he re-tear his knee? Thankfully not that. Ankle. Hopefully he's back. And Coach Dresser was really candid. He's like, hey, we love him, but he can't stay healthy. He's not been able to stay on the mat. So that's a key for him.
This face mush photo just reminded me of another bonus point that was missed on was Echmandia trying to get the tech fall at the end. he was doing the run out front, let him go for a
There's
second.
like
run
12
behind.
seconds left. He lets up, looks at the ref, doesn't get the or tries to come around, doesn't get the escape, but covers anyway. And then it was like no points. Like, all right, let me try it again. But this time he gave even less time for the ref because there was like 6 seconds left. So he gets up, just spinning around it again. It's like, nah, I didn't get that either.
It's kind of another bad visual though for the Iowa transfers of like the lasting image from that match is the bomb from Echmandia and then just Nasir just balled up there as Echmandia is trying to let go, release, and run behind again.
I think if you can do that twice, you should at least get a stall call. You know what I mean?
That is true. And I was gonna say that, but I really want to compliment the whistle Titus Godbolt for. I thought he called stalling awesome throughout that match. Some people took exception with
The Kennedy one. Bounce.
Not me.
Yeah.
I thought he earned it. I thought he earned every stall call. I thought the stalls were on point. He set the tone early. He didn't like wait till the third when one guy's been attacking the old time. Now the other guy's trying to. No, this guy. And you know what he did? All he did was rightfully recognize what we all know is happening on the mat. Every wrestling fan knows what is and is not stalling. We all know it. It's just some refs have they have guts, and
we'll see out of bounds stalls too. Like
that too.
That changed. That really diminished the amount of normal stallings that were called.
Yes,
when the edge stalls became a thing.
And he called it, and I would say, hey guys, this is how you call stalling. Guys are backing away. You don't have to rely on a guy backing out of bounds to call stalling, because you know what drives me crazy? You back a guy to the edge. They circle in. Oh, congratulations. And then you are backing the other way. Yeah. No, that's stalling. That's worse
if you
than
go
backing out of bounds.
Back and forth on the mat backwards, you have stalled whether you go out of bounds.
Yeah. They need a backwards pedometer like on these guys. Like to, okay, if you're going backwards, generally you're stalling. So hats off to him. I understand that not stalling. I didn't want to like highlight that because I thought he did a great job. They say that guy's 66. There's just no freaking way. 66? There's no freaking way.
It looks great.
Dude, looks younger than us.
Moving fast.
Yeah.
74. Match of the duel.
Oh,
maybe the match of the year so far.
It is the match of the year. This is the duel of the year. This was the match of the year.
Match of the month? Nah, match of the year.
Thank you, Aaron. Incredible match. It had really everything. Kennedy comes out, gets the runaround, single leg, gets the finish, and you're immediately like, all right, Kennedy's gonna. This is the bonus point they need. And then you quickly realized, wait, Gaetan is now, since that first takedown, is making the match happen where he wants it to happen. He was funneling all the takedowns to positions he wanted to be in, whether it's drape or getting the head to the outside, locking in the crotch. He just made the match happen where he wanted it to happen.
Well, he made the match happen by not shooting.
No.
And Kennedy shooting, because that's what he does. Kennedy made in-match adjustments and realized, oh, I can't shoot on this guy because he's going to beat me. Mm-hmm. And then just went underhook, and I'm going to move you all around the mat and win this on stall calls, which he almost did.
If you lose 6 matches and they look like this match and you're an Iowa fan, you're like, all right, man, listen, we went out on our shield. The guy tried to win the entire time. Kennedy, it's kind of weird to say this, but I thought he looked tired early, and he just kept fighting. That's what you'd love to see. This guy fought the whole time. And for Gaetan to get this win, to really, and Coach Dresser, I love how he uses media, and why I wanted to invite him on is because the candor. He's like, there's times I feel like Gaetan maybe he turned a corner, and then there's times I'm like, maybe it's not going to happen. And he said that this week coming into this match, and he said Kennedy is a guy that, we're a big underdog here. And he doesn't have any, reservations saying that. And, I said this was the only match I predicted bonus points for.
Yeah.
And Gaetan didn't even lose. He won.
You're not the only person. I mean, you got to give all credit to Gaetan. He won with savvy. He won with guts and grit. But also, it was the people that motivated him. So Dresser, you mentioned, but also in his post-match interview,
Yes.
the guy in Casey's that just threw shade at him for no reason, and that's going to stick in his head. He also called you out, CP. I don't know if you heard that. He said people picking against me. C. Piles was one of them.
I don't think he said that, but
He did.
he didn't say my name, did he?
He said C. Piles.
No.
100%.
Oh, where?
I will find it. It was the same video where he was talking about the or no, it was post-match. It was post-match, but there's a clip in there.
Oh, I only heard the Rock Harrison one. He didn't. I
Not on the mat. He didn't say it. You weren't on his mind that much. The Casey's guy was in his head.
Yeah, the Casey's guy got it there.
But he was just saying everyone in the media.
Yeah, for sure.
Picking bonus.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I did.
But that
hear
post-match interview with Rock, that was like the cherry on top of like adding a little lore to this match, which is gonna be remembered by Cyclone fans for a long time.
It was crazy. He's so close on the takedowns. There's just so many exchanges that were either or, and Kennedy was close, and the counter scrambling, he had an advantage there, and you got to wrestle where you have the advantage. And he was really upright in his stance, almost inviting the shots. And then in tiebreakers, he gets the double boots in and got the ride out.
It's
He
confirmed.
did start not celebrating, but you could tell Gaetan was starting to feel himself a little bit there in like the second period. I can't remember exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was like looking to the
At
corner.
the end of the first, he was like in between the break. He was like nodded his head.
I can do this.
Yeah,
I
real
was like-
confident.
I was like,
that's cool.
slow down, MJ.
The Cyclone
Yeah.
fan, and you were like, "Do not do that."
Yeah.
The chat confirmed by a couple people in the post-match press conference that he said CP.
Oh, let's go. Hey, listen, that's part of the deal. Yeah, you
Yeah,
see.
take credit for that. I always do it. If I pick against someone and they win, it's like we probably saw what my pick and got motivated.
That was reverse
Wow.
psychology.
So really, I beat Patrick Kennedy. Interesting.
Could he have done it without you? Probably not.
Maybe not.
Probably
No.
not.
How do you feel about Angelo's 2-1 win over Dean?
Well, I think we sort of thought this was a possibility. Maybe not a no takedown match. That honestly does surprise me. But I think we thought this was going to be a close one. Dean's thing is defense.
Yeah.
And we saw it. It's impressive. But these are 2 wins now for Angelo, where no takedown against Sinclair in the win, no regulation takedown against Fishback, and now here no takedown. You're going to need takedowns to win the national tournament.
Jason Surtis begs to differ.
Yeah, Jason Surtis. But listen, 149 2014 versus 184 2025. Those are some different cats. But man, there's Angelo's first shot right here, right side. He's got the foot off the mat, double. Like if you still frame it, you're like, it's almost impossible to not finish this. Dean's freaky there. It was crazy that he didn't finish. I think Angelo gets those finishes next time.
I was really impressed by Dean's defense. I mean, you mentioned it already, but he did some innovative stuff. He did some wild moves to avoid a guy like Angelo, who is very strong and positionally sound.
Both him and MJ too. I was impressed with their discipline and ability to follow a clear game plan. When those guys are both some Space Mountain guys that will do some crazy stuff, throw themselves to their back, stuff like that. And it was clearly coaching staff going, no. And you're not going to shoot. So that's part of it. You're going to let them come to you, and then you're going to counter and score. That was clear the game plan. They both followed it. Obviously, it worked out for MJ, not for Dean. But
2-1, no takedowns.
I'm going to say, going into that,
You can move forward with that.
and going into that, even here, we were still like, Angelo's going to get bonus, and then somehow Dean's going to win, and I was going to win this duel.
And that is not what happened. Rocky Elam comes out. And, man, I'll say this. Dean brought fight to this match. He tried to win. He was attacking throughout. But Rocky is just better right now. And Rocky looks like a guy. I mean, he's ranked second, so it's not some take. But, man, whereas maybe a month ago you're like, Barr's winning this weight, right? Now I'm watching. I was like, oh, wait. He looks like the Rocky of old. His ability to finish shots against someone like Josh Barr with Josh Barr's defense, you have to have that kind of skill set to beat Josh Barr. And I think Rocky has the matchup is there for Rocky. But counter or back to the match, the takedowns were there. I mean, he pulled in a shot from he started like this, like hands weren't even touching. Somehow got to it, pulled it in, and then the ride looked oppressive, very good from the top position. His second takedown was even more impressive. How it was a reattack, I think. Single leg, and Dean goes splits
on the edge there.
And Rocky has the arm length to like press the heel down with his left hand and reach across and pull in the far. And it was just really impressive. And for Rocky Elam, I mean, to go from being Missouri for all these years, now you're just part of Cyclone lore, getting this win. I mean, it was impressive. He wrestled really, really well. And,
that condor-like wingspan that you mentioned against Dean, that's like, what are you, he was doing the splits. He's super strong, obviously. And it's like, he just grabbed it and was like, nope, I'll do this now.
Yes.
And Dresser says he wants to go to Vegas, which I think is a great sign for his health as well.
It sounded like he really wanted to wrestle here. He really wanted, like, and you know, everyone's been talking about this guy's pitch count, not us. Everyone else has been he's not going to wrestle.
I was concerned.
Well, you're talking.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Like, all we've heard from Iowa State is how they're going to hold this guy out and keep him healthy. Okay, well, he wrestled the big one. Now
he did duck Nebraska Kearney.
That is true.
The most important duel of this
history will remember that, and it's important you brought that up. So that's the duel. That's the result there.
Well, I want to know what you think. What does this result mean for Iowa?
For Iowa, I mean, it's significant for sure. Obviously, they have a whole season in front of them. We've never seen Iowa, or really, it's very rare to see teams. We've never had this much data on a Hawkeye team on December 1st, right? Normally, they've only wrestled their only relevant matches generally the Cyhawk. Now we have the national duels, so we can draw more conclusions about this team, and they're going to be, I think. It does not change in my mind that this team can win a trophy. I think they can be a top 4 team because you've got guys like Angelo and Drake. But if you go weight by weight, just maybe even before I say that, I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot of Iowa discussion, and understandably so. The standard at Iowa wrestling is the highest standard from any fan base in wrestling. It is higher than Penn State doesn't have a standard. They have Cale Sanderson. That's it. There was no one clamoring. No one cared about Troy Sunderland, how he was doing. He created that. And we'll see when Cale eventually is not the coach at Penn State. We'll see what that standard actually is. But the standard at Iowa is insane. And just to illustrate, Oklahoma State had finishes of 18, 14, 10, I think they had a 13 in there from 2018 on. And no one was ever saying there needs to be a change here. John Smith retired when he wanted to. It's just a different level of expectation at Iowa. So that is framing a lot of this because they lost to this team for the first time in 20 years. The effort in certain matches was not there. That's missing expectations. But let's frame it properly. The expectations are higher here than they are anywhere else in America for college wrestling. And they're still, over the last 10 years, the second best team, kind of by far, right? But I would be, not being truthful to myself to say, man, this is not going the right way, right? You've got these transfers coming in and they're not going to contribute. Next year, you lose Drake, or you lose Dean Peterson, Drake Ayala, you lose Michael Caliendo, Patrick Kennedy, and Moen Dean. You lose 5, what I think are going to be impactful starters, and the help coming behind it, I don't know where it's coming from. Like, you're excited about DeLuca, but he's already hurt. Gabe can slide in at 74. That's good. But they're going to be hurting. They're going to be hurting next year without relying on the transfer portal yet again. But I think more than anything, you can accept a loss to Iowa State. You can accept maybe not even beating Penn State. But it's what you see on the mat. Like, are the giving the fans something? The product, attacks. That's what Iowa wrestling is traditionally known for: offense, attacks, aggression. You got a junior world champ that's not shooting, and this is the greatest athlete in Iowa history, the state, and he's not an attacker, right? They have a really good team. I'm not trying to like put anyone on blast, but I'm just saying for the fan base, I understand frustration because you want to see guys attacking, and that's what was missing. But on the counter, this is a different periodization thing. It's not always they win this duel every single year, and they didn't win it for once.
Nobody beats the Iowa State Cyclones 21 times in a row.
No, I don't know. There may be a stretch in there. Dude, they've won until this year. They won 2 times since 1986.
Crazy.
That is so freaking insane to me.
All thanks to Cyclone Dan Gable.
Dan Gable.
Yeah. They honored a lot of or alumni.
Yeah.
Including Dan Gable.
Yeah. So I think that's just what you want to see. You want to see that aggression. You want to see that attacking product. And that's what I think has the fan base most concerned. And I understand it. What I was about to say, think about this, and this goes to the standard as well. Like just the Iowa standard is just massively outsized with the rest of the country. Nebraska, in one day, wrestled 2 dual meets and won a combined, I think, 2 matches against Oklahoma State and Ohio State. Like, imagine if that happened to Iowa.
Right.
I mean, and Mark Manning's a great coach, and Nebraska's a great program. And these teams have variations. So it's a tough one. That was kind of the thing you could hold on to. It's like, well, we can't beat Penn State right now, maybe, and recruiting's tough, but we beat Iowa State every year. Now that's lost for this year. But at the end of the day, this is a team that can beat Iowa State at the NCAA tournament. This is a team that can bring home an NCAA trophy, and they're doing it on a consistent level that is the envy right now of every other program save one. That is true. That is true until it's not true, and it's been true you can't say, well, it's just the last 10 years. No, it's the last 5 years also. So they won a national title in 2021, and they were the best team in 2020. Don't forget that too. So the trend is undeniable, but this is a team and a program that can turn things around.
It's part of also too, and I don't think this should be the case, but it just is with when you have the amount of transfers they do, and because of the money they have. I've always said you should flaunt that if you're an Iowa fan. You wish you could pay athletes as much as we can to come to our school, but that gets spun a lot, and
it's the double-edged sword a little bit, right? Because you have the status of being one of the only programs that can consistently bring all these fans. You get the elevated stage, you get all those eyeballs, but then that comes with the pressure and expectations, which can lead to a little bit more, I don't want to say overreaction, but you are under the microscope a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then when you see other teams out recruiting you on a high school level too, and you just, you're bringing in all these transfers, like it feels worse for a lot.
I think the transfer portal volatility is going to reshape how teams look at roster management. And I think it's not just Iowa. I mean, you've got guys that are, when the incentives change, when the incentive is not, and you could say, yeah, I do want to be really good at wrestling, but when the carrot is not our culture, our development, it's when you're leading with money, that changes things. And they're all still human beings. And it's not just, I mean, Richard Figueroa left Arizona State where he won a national title, and now he goes to the wrong weight class. But we don't know the agreements, but it would stand to reason there's money there too.
I was gonna say it's not all been bad for Iowa with transfers. I mean,
Stephen Buchanan.
Look at Dean. Look at Buchanan. Look at
Pete.
Kind of 3 and 2 in the lineup right now.
Kelly Endo.
2 not great versus 3 good in
I mean,
school.
And the program it's not that they're averse. I mean, they put their arms around Austin DeSanto. That was a transfer. They loved him. They loved Iron. Like, transfers aren't all bad, but I think
Everybody plays a transfer game too.
yes, absolutely, everybody does.
But that's why I kind of said, like, a lot of fans like to point fingers at Iowa and get on them for having all these transfers.
Right.
When it's like, yeah, and if you could, you would.
Well, and it's some schools lose a guy, and you're like, oh, that stinks that they're transferring from there, but they're also picking up transfers. Like it kind of just conveyor belt moves up.
Yes. So yeah, a lot to unpack. I'm not, it's easy to overreact to these things, and I'm not going to sit and tell you that everything's going to be fine, everything's great, and they've got a great team and they're going to get second. I'm not saying that, but yeah, that was tough. But then again, it's like, man, Drake and Kennedy win like we think they're gonna, and then they win the duel, but they just didn't.
Yeah. Iowa State won the duel with Steve-O and Panera Johnson losing, just like I drew it up.
Just like you drew. Yeah,
Like all the
exactly.
Cyclone fans.
There's so many sentences you could say. If I told you them on Saturday, you'd be like, okay, Iowa definitely won.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Steve-O lost. Okay, Iowa won. Steve-O and Panera lost. They definitely. Iowa definitely.
This was a B2A beating
Yeah.
by Iowa.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about BTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Elsewhere in the college wrestling world over the past week, South Dakota State knocking off Minnesota in a wild duel.
And that was a longer streak being broken.
Yes.
How long was that streak?
51 years.
That 51 years?
51 years before the last time. I don't know if they've wrestled every year, but that stat comes straight from Jason Bryant, so you know it's true. South Dakota State had not beat Minnesota in over 50 years.
Yeah, that was crazy. 5 upsets in that one. All 2 like buzzer beaters. The Rasmussen finish is just the most insane finish in a duel. He's just like spamming these rolls.
Tremendous.
And just somehow came out on top. So congratulations to Coach Hahn and South Dakota State, because that's a big win, big program. Minnesota, they lost 1 match at national duels, and then they beat everyone else. They wrestled back for 5th because that's the best you could do if you didn't make the semis. They beat everyone else. They only lost to the champions, Ohio State. So that's a good team.
Oh yeah, they're ranked all over the place, and that was just a good duel on paper. Looking at it, and South Dakota State went to Minnesota too to get it done.
Okay. Hey, I think Amanda, are we good with Coach Dresser? Okay. All right. Well, we are just thrilled to have the winning coach from yesterday, the Iowa State Cyclone head coach, Kevin Dresser, joining the show. Coach Dresser, first off, congratulations. What was that last night celebration like for you guys?
I don't know if we sell it. Well, we have a venue right beside Hilton Coliseum called Sheeman, and we do post-match socials. They call them post-match socials. So we do those pretty much all the time anyway. So the fans come over, and I usually get up and speak. And if there's a couple guys that had a good outing, we'll pull them up on stage and do that. And that's kind of what we did. We just stayed a little longer than usual. So the match got over about 3:00 Iowa time. So on a Sunday afternoon, and everybody had been snowed in on Friday and Saturday. So people hung around there till about 5 or 6 o'clock and got a chance to get the guys up on the stage and let some of them talk. And so that was the extent of it. Hopefully they didn't go home and eat too much, but it was a fun little couple hours.
Absolutely. Okay. So I have so many questions, but just starting with the pressure of getting this win. How much did you feel it over the years? Did the pressure rise when year after year Iowa's found a way to win? You won a trophy at Virginia Tech. You won a trophy at Iowa State. You're very accomplished, but this win had just eluded you despite having some great teams. Do you feel that pressure build as time goes?
That's a good question. I think the competitor in me probably feels it just because I'm a competitor and I don't like losing. So for me personally, it's just whether it's sure, obviously it being Iowa and being a in-state rival, there's more oomph behind it, right? But just the competitor in me and wanting to try to win stands out. I'm probably, like I said last night, I think there was probably more pressure just in the whole Iowa State Cyclone Nation, because I think I heard since 1986, and that's a long time because I was a senior in college. I think Iowa State's only won 3 times, and I think that was the first win in 20 or 21 years last night. So I didn't know either one of those stats until just this last week. So from that perspective, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of more excited because there's a really loyal and longtime fan base here, and so their pain is much deeper than my pain. So I was excited for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fan base, and briefly, they showed out in a big way. I didn't hear the final number. They said almost 13. Was there any? You always have good crowds, but were you a little worried? You had some crazy snowstorm, or were you worried the fans may not make it?
I would say that probably 90% that bought tickets made it. I think I heard on Wednesday it was like at 13,800.
Wow.
And if it would have been a normal, they usually get a couple thousand walk up, and it holds 15. So I'm sure nobody walked up. If they didn't have tickets, they probably didn't walk up and buy tickets, I'm guessing. So I don't know actually how many showed up, but I think they ended up selling that amount of tickets. But no, it doesn't surprise me. These Iowa folks are crazy when it comes to, like I said, they probably all had cabin fever a little bit because that snow started at 6 o'clock on Friday, and it stayed till like 9 o'clock on Saturday. It just snowed for 27 straight hours. And so they started clearing the road Saturday night, and the parking lots in Hilton was all cleaned up by the time we got there at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Watching that duel, I think a lot of people were, when you think of what match stood out to you, it's 174. It's MJ Gaitan, a guy I thought was the biggest underdog coming into this dual meet, and said as much. What can you say about this performance and what that maybe signals for him moving forward?
MJ is such a wild card. I kind of agree with you, Christian, that if you would ask me which one did we maybe have a risk of losing by bonus points, I probably would have said 174 because I think Kennedy's really good, and MJ's just, you never really know where he's at. I kind of thought it was a bad style matchup for us. But Coach St. John had a great game plan with MJ all week long. And the one thing about MJ is he is a gamer. Like, when you heard the story, everybody told him all week long that he wasn't going to win. But I always say it doesn't matter even what the heck I think. It just matters about the guy that goes out there and shake hands. And obviously MJ thought he was going to win. So it was a great match. Whether whoever you were cheering for, now that I look back and think of the details and the overtime and another overtime, it just was a great college wrestling match.
It really was. What, for you, if you were to just use one word to kind of describe the overall team effort you saw from the Cyclones, what was it?
I think we wrestled tough. I mean, I think we had a lot of toughness. Obviously at 165, we didn't have a great day, and Connor Hooten is the first guy to tell you that and own it a little bit. But I really felt even the matches that we lost, I felt like we competed really hard. And so I thought we had really good toughness and really good fight. And that's what you got to have when you wrestle a top, 5 team, especially. And really, as much parity as there is in college wrestling, you got to bring it every weekend. And I liked our fight.
Yeah, very good fight. We got some questions on this, and I love just talking with high-level wrestling minds such as yourself on this kind of stuff. The choice, the tiebreaker choice, is often discussed and debated, and what is the actual best thing with the new tiebreaker rules. The decision for Pinheiro to defer in that 149 match, what are you evaluating when you enter those tiebreaker choices?
Well, unfortunately, when we got to the second tiebreaker, I kind of felt like we were at a disadvantage because I think Ryder Block, just on average, has the potential to be a better rider than Pinheiro is. And so, I don't want to say I was defeated before we got there, but I was sure as hell hoping we weren't going to get there because I knew that in those short ride-out periods, if we could ride him for 10 seconds, he was going to ride us for 12 seconds. And I knew, so to me, maybe I was a little bit short-wired a little bit by the time we got there, but I just felt like the advantage was theirs at that particular point. There's different strategies. I think you really kind of have to look at what I just said is knowing your athletes a little bit. Like, you put Vinny Zerbin in that situation, you're pretty comfortable with Vinny Zerbin riding a little bit longer. You put Steve-O in that situation, you're comfortable. But, you got some guys that are good wrestlers that aren't as good riders. I mean, our Cubans didn't spend a lot of time riding in Cuba, so we don't like to get to double overtimes, So I think the circumstances was that for me.
Yeah. Your Cubans, Younger and Anthony looked fantastic. What stood out to you most about their performances?
Well, they're just really relentless on their feet. They're just very relentless, and obviously they're very skilled there. But they like that position, and I think they both have gotten better. A lot of times we just don't like to put them down because we don't like to slow them down because they can wrestle obviously a faster pace. Anthony, he got away from a really good one of the guys that Bailey's supposed to be one of the top guys in the nation on top. He's dangerous, and Anthony had a good game plan for getting away there. But those guys, Younger brought a lot of pressure from the minute. His game plan was to go out and hand fight really hard the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then start firing. And that was his game plan. That was our game plan from the beginning. And I felt like he executed that game plan really well.
You guys are going to Cliff Keen, Las Vegas next week. This week, actually. You're probably leaving Wednesday or Thursday.
About 46 hours, yeah.
Oh, my gracious. All right, how do you kind of reset the team and focus? Because that as you know, is a gauntlet and a very different kind of challenge.
I told him last night in the locker room afterwards, I said, it's just such a balance, especially when you know what you got coming up. It's not like we had a weekend off and you can tell them to go celebrate. But you got to get back on the horse this morning. And I reminded them that you guys are at the highest level of folk style wrestling. You guys are the professionals. We're paying you now too, by the way. And so you got to be a professional in this situation, and you got to clean you got to wipe the slate clean this morning. You got to come in, and there's weight management, and there's sleep, and there's a rehab, and there's recovery, and you got to take advantage of all those things right away this morning. Luckily, we didn't have class because they didn't want to put all the students on the road yesterday because there was so much snow here. So they got a day that they don't have to go to class, but tomorrow, they'll jump back on the school wagon, and then we leave at 9:00 for the airport on Wednesday morning. But I think we really have to. You find out what guys are made out of. Are you gonna celebrate this one? Sure, it was fun. It was great. It's been a long time as a program, but Las Vegas can really set you up to have a great seed at the NCAA tournament. So, there's always that next thing. And hopefully we'll meet today at 3:30 and see what everybody looks like and see what everybody weighs. And hopefully they'll be dialed in. But I think we got a pretty mature team. I think they understand it. So hopefully the scale and what they look like at 3:30 will let us know how serious they took that message.
You mentioned the scale. Evan Frost is someone who the scale's often discussed with this guy. Really big at 133. First time down. Were you surprised at all that he was the guy in the third period going out and getting takedowns against someone as great as Drake Ayala?
Was I surprised? Yes. Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't think he would feel as good. He's done a pretty good job the last couple of weeks, but he still hadn't been down. This first time he was down to 133. And I think anybody that's wrestled and pulled a lot of weight knows that the first time you step off the scale, it'll literally be the third match, right? Anytime you step off the scale, the very first time at a weight that's difficult to get to, you generally feel it. So, he give him credit. He dug deep. He's a competitor. He's a tough kid. And, if he can master that difficult part of the weight class, he's really good. I mean, he's gets away good. He rides good. He's got a go-to takedown to each leg that's pretty darn tough and solid. He's just got to manage that detail, and he's been very inconsistent with that. He's probably watching me right now, mad that I said that, but he has been. If he gets consistent with that detail, he just is a really good wrestler.
Yeah, that was very apparent. The your staff, the Iowa State staff, the Iowa staff. There's been tension there over the years. How would you characterize, maybe not the relationship, but just that kind of almost rivalry you have seemingly with the other staff? You've got two former Hawkeyes on your staff that wrestled for Coach Brands. What is that relationship like? I know a lot of people are asking about the handshake and all that. What is just your overall characterization?
Intense rivalries sometimes don't lend themselves to a lot of small talk. How's that? We don't have a lot of small talk. No, there's not a lot of small talk there. I think that I went on record. I think they have a really good team this year. We obviously watched them wrestle the national duels. I thought they had a really good team, and we knew that we had to be ready to go. And I told our guys before that this was going to be, right before we went out there, this was going to be tough. It was going to be hard, but I felt like they were ready, and so there wasn't much interaction. There's been some chirping over the years, and they didn't chirp at us, so we didn't chirp at them. We're usually not the chirpy type, but if you chirp at us, we're going to chirp back. So I didn't really, until the end of the match afterwards, have any interaction until we went and shook hands afterwards. So there was no fireworks on that side of it.
You mentioned the National Duels Invitational. Obviously, you guys were on the outside looking in there. I think everyone knew that you had a team that was capable of really going on a deep run and performing well there, as evidenced by yesterday. What was it like being on the outside looking in? What were your thoughts on the National Duels Invitational, and just how excited would you be to be in there next year, which looks all but assured?
It looked like a tremendous event. I talked to some other coaches, some of our peer coaches, and they really had good things to say about it. I mean, it was obviously very tough, but I thought it looked to be a really good event. I tried to watch as much of it as I could. We were, I think we had some guys at an open tournament that was a marathon that day in Des Moines. So we were kind of watching in between bouts, but it looked like a great event. It looked like a well-run event. It looked like a lucrative event, right, for some people. Sure, we would have loved to have been there, but first year they had to have a criteria, and everybody knows what kind of season we had last year, and we didn't meet the criteria. So there's no hard feelings that we didn't get an invite. That was just the way it was, and we made the most of it and kind of focused on getting ready for this weekend. And but man, it looks like a great event, and maybe we'll get there next year.
Coach Dresser, I got a question for you, and this actually doesn't pertain to the duel, but something I've always just kind of wondered is, you are, when it comes to the media, very candid and open with your guys and your team, basically about everything. Why is that when most college wrestling coaches are not?
Probably just a style, I mean, obviously, you don't tell everybody everything. Everybody's got things that are probably best kept in-house. But for the most part, that's just been my style. Is I tried to be as much of a straight shooter as I can, and honest about the situation, and honest about wrestle-offs, and which guy needs to do better, and which guy's doing good. And at the end of the day, a lot of the media will always kind of want to put it on the coach. And there's times when we didn't do our job too, but there's also times when athletes don't do their job. And that's probably kind of how I was raised a little bit, going through Coach Gable and everything, is you got to put a lot of it. There's a lot of great coaches out there. And I think these kids that are coachable are going to get better, but there's times out there that you just got to put it on the kid a little bit too. I lost 19 times in college, and I can't ever say one time that Dan Gable made me lose a match. He was very open and very candid, and if you didn't do your job, he was going to tell you didn't do your job. So maybe it's just kind of how, I think we're all products of our environment. So maybe that's where I got it. But for the most part, I think that's just my style, and hopefully that's a good style.
Another one for you. This one is actually about to duel. In 2017, when you were hired, you openly said it was your goal to beat Iowa, and you said last night in your press conference it took a little bit longer than you were expecting or would have liked. When you were hired, what did you think? What was your expected timeline to beat Iowa? How long did you actually think it would take to defeat Iowa in a duel?
Honestly, I didn't have a game plan. I mean, I think the second year we went there, when Austin Gomez lap dropped Austin DeSanto, and if the ref would have hit the mat, we would have won it that year. And I can promise you, and I didn't think we'd had a snowball's chance in hell of beating them our second year based on what we inherited. But the way it fell that particular dual meet, we just wrestled really well, and we had them on the ropes. So I can't really tell you that I had a timeline. Was I expected 9 years? No, but we obviously had some really, really good dual meets over the past 8 years. First year was kind of a wipeout, but we knew that, and maybe the third year. But ever since then, I think it's been something people have looked forward to, and that's what I was hired to do, is to get Iowa State competitive again. And there's not a better measuring stick than the University of Iowa. I don't care if you're from Iowa or Pennsylvania. You shake hands with the Hawkeyes and a program like that, and compete with them toe to toe. That's a good benchmark for where you're at.
I know you addressed it in your press conference yesterday, but just for anyone who maybe didn't watch and is just watching this, the situation for you at 149, where does that stand between Frost and Johnson?
Well, Jacob Frost, we like to go 2 out of 3s. So he did a 2 out of 3 wrestle off. We did one way back in late October, and then we did one about a week and a half ago, and we did match 2, and then we did match 3. So Panero won the first match, and Jacob Frost won the second match, and then an hour later we did the third match, and they were all really close matches. 2 of them were overtimes, and Jacob ended up being the number 1 guy, and so right now he's the number 1 guy. He stays healthy and wrestles well. He's in the driver's seat. He gets injured or something happens. I mean, he was a lot of people thought, I'm sure I got beat up for wrestling Panero just because he didn't win, but Jacob Frost was under the weather. We got a little bit of a bug on this past Monday, and actually Evan Frost and MJ didn't do anything Monday or Tuesday. They were sick, so we just held them out and got them back in the practice room Wednesday. But then Jacob Frost wakes up Thursday. He's not feeling good, and he's sick Friday and Saturday. So that was a reason to wrestle Panero there. But, we still feel like we got 2 really good guys. Jacob Frost is in the driver's seat right now.
Well, Coach, it's been awesome for you to come on. I really appreciate it. Amazing dual meet. Do you have anything else to add before we let you go? I can't wait to watch you guys wrestle in Vegas. I know that.
No, I appreciate it. No, it was good. I think, I think the dual meet's our best product we got.
Yeah.
So that's why that Tulsa thing was really, really cool. Hopefully the Cyhawk duel added another duel to that. I've had a lot of people reach out and just say it's one of the best dual meets they've seen. So, we're in the entertainment business. So hopefully both sides entertain.
Absolutely did. Coach Dresser, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Kevin
Dresser, always great talking with Coach. Did a great job. Amazing. He's right. Entertainment business, that was entertaining. Yeah. That was a good product. It
was on the mothership.
And it takes 2. It takes 2 to tango, right? You got the Cyclones brought it. You had the Hawkeyes, and together it made an amazing event.
And you mentioned it, Thanksgiving. We had everybody over at my place. But watching a duel like that with other wrestling fans just adds so much, because you're all cheering at the same, couple instances. It's like, oh, did he get the escape? Did he get this? And it just adds to the hype when you're there.
I was so jealous. I wonder. Sion Williams was there.
Have we checked in on him?
Yeah, I texted him last night. He sent me the most.
I thought he might have burnt Welch down to
even for. I'm going to read the verbatim from Sion, because I was going to have him prior to me getting Coach Dresser on. Sorry, you got bumped for Coach Dresser, Sion. But I was going to say, maybe Sion will drop in when we get home. I said, when do you get home? He said, Friday. Then he goes, leaving from here tonight in America Wednesday. I said, I said, America? He goes, Little Roxic versus men. So I was like totally confused by where. This is what Sion looked like at the dual meet. It's just Andy Hamilton. More than taking wrestling pictures, I think he just loves photographing Sion in the wild.
He needs to release like a glossy coffee table book of
the best
Sion.
Sion and Gary Abbott only. Anyways, there he is in his.
Did we get the pic?
There it is. Look at this guy. Double thumbs up.
Yep.
That's his
He's
go-to.
Happy.
Hey, do we want to get to some questions before we go?
Can I say something real quick?
Oh yeah, space.
I have one more Iowa State question before we move on. Where does this stack up in the greatest current college wrestling rivalries?
Oh, Cyhawk for me, I don't know. To me, it's between two Iowa rivals, Oklahoma State and Iowa State.
Not Penn State?
No. I don't think that's there.
Doesn't have the fire.
Doesn't have the history either. Like it's got
Recent history,
a recent history.
past 10 years.
Sudden history.
I just get more excited. I mean, the current landscape makes that not as compelling to me, right? I find these to be just a little juicier, it's my answer. You can say Penn State. Iowa.
Cyhawk is 100%.
I just
biggest
love
rivalry in Iowa.
it is. It's just something that is that important to an entire state, and not just like that state's resume. It actually matters there. That is just like that's a really special thing that the sport has.
Yeah, Rando's talking about it in Casey's.
You got Casey.
General store is just buzzing about it
This guy-
before it happens.
They're getting their breakfast pizza and they're telling MJ Gaetan you don't have a shot.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen everywhere. I think it probably happens in Stillwater. I think it happens in Iowa City and Ames. But beyond that, I don't think
You tried to
Much
call him
else.
a breakfast pizza, you know what?
who.
The guy.
Like the SEC, it just means more.
It does. It does. I think it's up there. I think Iowa, Oklahoma State still probably, but man, Cyhawk in November just hits.
It does.
That was great. Well, hey, before we go on, I want to thank our friends at Nike. They sponsored this. I think they had both teams looking really nice out there on the mat, and they were looking good because the Nike Inflict 3 has been the most popular shoe in college wrestling. But after years in the lab, the all-new Nike Inflict 4 is available, lightweight, durable, and with a match-ready feel the first time you lace them up. The best shoe in the game is now better. 8 colorways. You can go online now, athleteps.com. And, this is the worst day of if you have a 9-to-5, 5-day-a-week job. It's the week after Thanksgiving. Nobody did any work that Thanksgiving, those days. And it's the worst Monday to come back to because you got to catch up on all that work. And it's the holidays already. Nobody wants to do it.
Monday between Christmas and New Year's Eve is tough.
But that's another one of those where nobody expects anything. This is like, I got to get all this stuff. I got to get my December ready. But it's shopping season, so go to athleteps.com. Don't do any work, just shop online.
Shopping season.
Shop till you drop.
Yeah.
Mo.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do it online. My parents were in town this weekend. My mom just has to Black Friday shop in person. Just
She's still in Friday.
bro, we went to the outlets in Round Rock. It was the most insane experience. I was like, what are we doing? Why would we do?
Was it busy?
Oh my gosh, you could not get in.
Still frenzied.
You couldn't park there. We had to park at a Wendy's and walk over. It was
Dang, the outlets still go hard. See, I was at the Domain Friday I went to Perry's Steakhouse for lunch. Great pork chop deal on Fridays.
Okay.
oh dang. You find good deals like this.
Oh, yes.
On the nice Perry's. There's a Perry's in Domain.
Yep, there's one downtown.
in
Domain.
I've had the one downtown.
Right. Well, I was thinking I'm gonna go to the one at Domain. Parking's gonna be a little bit easier there. And then we got there, and I was like, oh, I just remembered it's Black Friday. It's like a normal Domain.
They all went to the Round Rock Premium Outlets. I'll tell you that right now.
Before online shopping, everyone should work retail for one summer at least.
Yeah, I did.
If you work retail during a Black Friday, or if you did this before internet shopping, just how stupid and frenzied and
Yeah.
people would just tear you apart for those Walmart TV deals back then.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't get into those people's.
All right, get to some questions. I mean, I wanted to talk. I mean, this duel was just so worthy. We have to mention, Raf happened. The two biggest storylines for, not even questionably, Spencer Lee losing to Yatsenko by pin and Real Woods losing to Jordan Oliver. Mm-hmm. Late match, Real kind of controlled it, and then at the very end, Savvy Jo, maybe a misguided shot from Real, and Jo gets a step out. But really, the biggest story is Spencer losing and what that means. We can maybe talk more about that on Thursday, but it bears mentioning. Concerning loss, concerning 2025 for Spencer, he put out a post acknowledging, hey, this wasn't my year, but I'm focused on 26. That's good. And yeah, I hope better days for Spencer.
I thought the biggest story was Caden Henschel, his AI Instagram coming true.
Yeah.
In real
I
life.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Instagram.
He shed it
post.
off, and through Clay Guida.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not familiar with this. Can you
Yeah.
Oh,
explain?
You were in Hungary. They already showed it. We'll show them after the show.
okay, we'll show you.
Everyone on we showed it on the last show. So anyways, we'll maybe talk more about that.
Or Raf Talk on Thursday.
Yes,
We are doing the show Thursday, right?
I hope so.
I know we travel.
I booked a later flight for that with that.
Yes.
For that purpose.
I'm not
Normal
traveling,
scheduled
so-
show on Thursday.
It'll just be Spay.
It's just me now.
Yeah.
It's just Spay Talk. I hope you guys are ready for work.
We're all.
The
Are we
Return
all
of Space
Vegas?
Stupid podcast.
Are we all Vegas boys?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Vegas,
Questions.
baby.
We got a few minutes. My info asks, please ask Ben if his tweet was trolling. LOL.
Absolutely not. Ben is a serious person. I think Ben. Now, is it realistic that Ben Askren in 2025 be the head coach at Iowa? I don't think so. For
He's
Ben.
physically incapable.
Well, he didn't suggest that, right? He didn't suggest that he would coach.
He just
He
said his
offered his
coaching
coach.
services were available.
He just offered his services, like maybe like a contract,
Wow, okay, I don't.
right?
That's
Consultant, a wrestling consultant.
He wasn't thinking about consulting, but no, I think he comes from a genuine place, and he's always been very candid about his thoughts about Iowa, and yeah, I think he thinks he would do a good job. And
Isn't he deep down got some Hawkeye fandom from when he was little and stuff?
born in Cedar Rapids, I believe.
Yeah,
So he's part Hawk.
he's one part Hawkeye.
He's basically
I don't think that's how it works.
he's basically Barry Davis. Barry's from Cedar Rapids. He really is Barry Davis. You know, Cedar
Wisconsin connection?
Rapids to Wisconsin.
Wow.
But
That
now
Barry Davis' son?
Barry now at Navy though.
Yeah.
And a Navy.
Okay. Adam Rush, gut reaction. Which Cyhawk team finishes higher at NCAAs this year?
Oh, and it's tough to say.
It's a great question.
Who's got the higher? Who's got the most top 3 guys?
Yeah.
You know, Rocky, Younger, Etch. Iowa State, I think, has more top 3 guys. Would you agree, John? John, you're making a face.
I don't know.
Might be more potential if Drake can get back up into that range. Caliendo, Ferrari.
But okay, well
Kennedy.
here's Iowa's sure things. Caliendo.
Mm-hmm.
Caliendo.
Ferrari.
He's probably not going to win, but you feel like good. Like
Angelo.
Angelo could realistically take 4th,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not crazy.
He realistically win too.
Yes, he also very good. What are the other like
Who-
surefire top 4 guys?
That's it,
Yeah.
right? But same
Kennedy's
question for Iowa State. What are their sure top 4?
Rocky, Younger.
Rocky Younger.
Feel like it to me. And Echemendia kind of looks like a top 4 guy to me.
Mm.
You don't think? I think he looks amazing.
He looks amazing. He's looked amazing before.
Yeah.
And he played. I mean, he almost beat Jesse Mendez at NCAAs 2 years ago.
Who do you have
But
more
not this
faith
year.
in to place in the top 4? Echemendia.
He'll get
or
another
Patrick
crack.
Kennedy?
I'm just saying Echemendia finishes 5th at NCAAs. Like,
Okay, well that's probably what Kennedy does too, right?
yeah.
Well, I'm not.
Pretty comparable.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not trying
sure.
to downplay Echemendia. I'm just saying he's a guy the same way Kennedy's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's accurate.
Man, gun to my head.
Gun to your head.
Yep.
Cyclones.
Cyclones. Oh, wow. Okay, next question. Actual Cannibal. Considering the missed locking hands call.
I rewatched this. This is fake news.
Okay.
No locked hands.
He really, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, he locked. And it was obvious why no one saw it on the Iowa State side because it was not facing them. But then I literally slowed it down. Gaitan pops up, he locks. And I swear, it was almost as soon as the hand dropped, Kennedy let go. Like it would definitely have not been, he didn't lock.
All right, but that's not the
But
question.
anyways.
How long until we see teams utilize a man in the booth approach a la the NFL, where there are people watching the matches from all angles who can call down and tell coaches to throw the break?
That would be brilliant.
You'd have to do it so quick, though. You don't get the.
You gotta have a quick signal right here,
That's
just right here.
Yeah.
That's like college football.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Or just someone like I in this, either someone with a completely different vantage point watching, but also has it on the screen.
Like binoculars or something.
I don't even know if this would be helpful, but now I'm just thinking about this. Like in college football, coaches can talk to their players through their
Yeah.
helmets. They have telecommunication, whatever, in there. Put a little something in the headgear.
Is this where sticky jams come into play?
Jams.
Yeah. Be like, hey, shoot your right-handed single right now.
Would that be illegal?
I
Is there
think
anything in the rule book to not have a
it's
device, a listening device?
It's kind of like Airbud, you know. There's nothing in the rules
It says you
against
can't have
a golden retriever being on your basketball team. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't have a sticky jam in your headgear. But no, I think it is illegal to do. But you know what? I think it'd be interesting, something to think about. But I think it is a good idea. The man in the booth idea, or someone watching, that's a good idea.
I like
Cowboy.
Man in the arena.
Man in the arena.
All right.
Yeah, we all
Sways asks, speaking of Iowa State will do Ohio State on
baby.
December 21st. We will be there, along with Lehigh in Nashville, Tennessee, in the collegiate duels. How do you all think Iowa State and Ohio State match up? Any potential matchups that stick out?
Here's my message: Ohio State, put your national dual winnings on
Bring-
the line.
Oh,
you're a
double or
coward.
nothing. Yeah, the gambler over here.
Just bring the trophy. You don't get the money. Okay. Rapid fire Iowa State, because then we got to go. 25, Buzakis, Poulin. Boozy. 33, Davino over Frost. 41, Mendez, Etch. 49. We got to go looted there. But that's
Frost.
That's a toss up.
Why'd you put it on the other hand?
That's the first Iowa
Yeah,
State.
no, you're right.
No, you
No,
Oh,
looted.
I switched up because that's the first one I'm not telling
That's
this.
a Frost match.
57, Cannon.
Ooh. Getting away. These lightweights.
Oh boy, I'm just making a whole other promo for the Iowa State team.
I feel like you got to
Six-
go Frost against Looted. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just,
Yeah.
Why not just go all
You gotta-
Buckeye? Why
once
not?
you're- Yeah.
65. Dude, I don't know. 65, probably Gallagher, right? Gallagher.
Yeah.
After,
Dude,
if
Ohio
that
State-
Connor Uden shows up,
Dude, I don't know. Iowa State. Those first four are going to be huge for that.
They got to start it.
They can't let Ohio State do what they did to Iowa and basically end the duel in the first two matches.
74 is Hartzla.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
you got to flip again. Can't
Well, I don't know. Kennedy beat Hartzla.
yeah, that's true.
84, Dean, maybe. 97, Iowa State, heavyweight Iowa State. But definitely Iowa State, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they got to be good
Start at
early.
97.
yeah.
That's by the way, that duel, Penn State also wrestles Stanford at that event, and I think North Dakota State.
Yes.
Live on Flow Wrestling, the Journeyman Collegiate Duels. Man, what a show. There was a lot we didn't get to, like answering the question of if Caliendo is the greatest ginger in the history of NCAA wrestling. That was asked.
David Bray needs to come up with his own.
Yeah, I can't weigh in, but also Jordan Lean exists. So we got to go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Coach Kevin Dresser, for hopping on. Thank you to you for listening and watching and supporting wrestling. We're going to be back Thursday. Maybe put a bow on the fallout from this and the weekend of wrestling. And then also to talk about Cliff Keen Las Vegas. Going to be a great tournament. We will be there live on Flow Wrestling. Have a great Monday, you all. Work hard. You had last week off. Now we grind. See ya.